think we're live.
We are live.
Well, let's see what goes on here. I have the large iPad next to me, so I should be able to. There we go. I can see my
See the
face,
comments?
and there's you. All
Yeah.
right. See if there's any chat so far. I'm not seeing any live chat.
What, you mean people haven't been waiting for us? This is the show.
Where's Todd Hobeck? He's always here.
Or at
There's
least
one. There's one person.
Oh, what are you kidding me?
There we go. Nope, it started up. There's Maurice Devereaux.
All right, you hipster.
KBDM, Eugene T. All right. Good evening, guys. Todd Hobeck. All right. Everyone's here.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
I'm going to wear these librarian style. You know what? I do have another pair that has the close-up lens here, and then the top is clear.
Oh, okay. You mean bifocals?
Not really, because there's the upper is just clear glass.
Oh.
So it's I don't know what you'd call them.
Well, I don't know. I've never heard of those.
Well,
Never saw them.
It looks like this is struggling.
What? The internet?
Check the internet to make sure we're on the right one.
We might lose the signal again, everybody. Patrick? Yep. Lost the connection again. Oh, okay, you're back.
Yeah. Was I gone for a second?
No, for a moment you froze, or at least on my end I saw that you froze.
Yeah. Well, I'll see it in the old chat there.
That's okay. Got a nice close.
You look like you're in a little bit different position tonight. Are you more closer to your comic desk?
I don't think so. Maybe I just
normally I can't see a Detective Comics poster in the background.
Oh yeah. No, I think I just positioned the computer a different way, but I'm sitting in the same spot.
I kind of like it.
Yeah. Usually you see part of the. Yeah. I wonder where I got that.
Normally you see the door.
Yeah. This time I'm trying to get the door out of it, because you never know when you might hear pounding on the door.
Or when something may come bursting through the door.
Yes, or you see fingers appearing at the bottom of the door.
Like in signs.
Yeah, worse though.
Let me see Goombas here. Wobbles, I guess that's how you say it. Before buying it or buy now. How many beers can you throw down? No. Those are questions we probably shouldn't answer. I can say that I can remember drinking 16 in one night. Is that a fair enough answer?
Jesus.
But it was up in Canada, and I was 19. So, when you're up in Canada and you're 19, you can drink all the beers you can. And that's the last thing I remember.
Before you woke up in the hospital 3 weeks later.
I did. I woke up. Luckily, I stayed. Somehow I got back to the motel because we didn't, we walked everywhere. That strip up there, you can walk up and down. But there was a motel full of kids, all like 19 years old. So it was a fun night, I guess. But that's the most I remember ever drinking in one evening.
You didn't get alcohol poisoning?
No, well, it wasn't like I didn't get them done in an hour. It was probably over, I don't know, probably 5 hours.
Okay.
So I remember it was around 1 o'clock, and they served beer in Pizza Huts up there, or at least I don't know, maybe they do here, but they did up there. And I think it was after midnight, and I remember we got a few pitchers of beer and we're eating pizza, and I don't remember much after that.
Do you remember if the pizza was good?
Pizza was just something to soak up the excess moisture. The funny thing is I didn't get sick, and I didn't really have a hangover. I think when you're a kid, you have like a super liver.
You must have had a super liver or still have one.
Yeah. Well, I don't really drink much. I mean, Wednesday nights, I have a couple beers on the show here, but I guess I can if I want to. Tonight we're having Genesee cream ale. We're going old school. I haven't had a cream ale in a while.
Yeah, it's been, I think, a few Wednesdays.
Yeah. Actually, it might have been a month. I had some on the weekend. Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful amber color.
Nice.
Anyway, so this week, I really didn't buy anything this week, and the hunting is really slowed down for me because I'll go on CGC Forum. I'll look at about 4 or 5 dealers that are out there. I look at eBay, but really for the books I want, there's nothing on eBay for me right now. And Nick and a few others have touched on this. There's just so many people out there buying right now that it makes it crazy to compete against some of them. And unfortunately, a lot of them are uneducated collectors. So they may just be a guy that saw the Endgame movie and decided, I want this book.
Yeah,
And
that's
they go
true.
out there and they just buy it. They're not thinking, well, they don't even know what GPA is. They don't care. They want that first appearance of Thor, say, and they go out there and get Journey into Mystery 83, and it's like a $2,500 book, saying grade, and they pay $3,000 for it or more. So I see a lot of that going on, and that so much so that I've seen it happening in the auction houses now too, where Comic Link and Comic Connect are both, I think, having that happen. So.
Yeah, yeah.
What are you going to do? It is what it is. You can stamp your feet and cry about it, or you can figure out a way to get what you want. So that's what I'm going to try to do, I guess.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
To a certain extent, I feel like I'm playing with the house's money, because I only spend and buy books from selling other books. So I'm not using any money that I would use to keep a roof over my head or keep my the lights on in the house. So I guess to that. It's a little bit limiting to me when I'm buying, but it means so much more when I do get these books, because I know what I did to get them. So.
Well, also you got the con coming up in about a month.
Yeah, and I am actually. I think I'm going to go to NiagaraCon. I went a few years ago. Mike and I went up. We did pretty good at it, but this year George Perez is going to be there, and this is his farewell tour. He's going to be at East Coast Con this weekend.
That's where I'm going to be.
Yeah, you'll get to see George. If you haven't met him and got his signature and you want it, get it now, because he's only doing, I think, 8 cons this year, and then he's done. He's not coming back anymore. He's retired. He may take a few, covers, projects, things like that here and there, but he doesn't really want to do this. He just had a lot of health scares and things like that. So I'm going to go up there and meet him, and I have a fanzine from 1981 that he drew the cover of. It's Deathlock, and it's pretty cool. I think Mike's going to go, and he's bringing. He showed a few shows back the first con he'd ever gone to, and he has a bunch of signatures on it. And George Perez was there, and he didn't get a signature, so he got everyone else's there but his. So he's going to take that with him and get that signed. So I think George would probably get a big kick out of it when he sees that. So,
cool.
So let's see what's going on in the chat. I do have several questions from Mike, CGC Mike, and Silver Age Dave has some bizarre questions as well, as he's often to do. So let's see what's going on in the chat tonight. We got Evan here. Will we see Anthony on an episode of the Golden Guys discussing EC? That's a great question. I'll let you answer that.
I haven't been invited.
Okay, well then you can't go to a party you're not invited to. You're a crasher then.
As much as I would like to.
I think those guys should get on that. I think there should be an invite at the end of this show.
There should be an EC special on that show, and I would love to guest star, or just to hear them talk about the stuff that I don't know about, because I don't know a lot about.
John Venezuela's here. I see him. Hello. Bigglesworth. I saw him somewhere else today. Was it Silver Age Dave's? Because I recognize that. There's Silver Age Dave. Hey, bud. Evan, we just answered your question. Todd Hobeck's got a whole bunch of beers there. I don't know if that means if that's a question or that's a suggestion. I'll have to get on that. Someone said, "How are you, Dave?" Well, Dave's not here. I think Dave's good. I saw him at lunchtime. He looked healthy. He was having a pop, although he wouldn't say what kind. They stayed off screen the whole time. All right, so we got a pretty good crowd going here. I don't know how many are on. It's hard to tell. I usually look down and I can tell how many, but it's really hard to tell. What I've been doing lately is as soon as I sign off, I look at the number. And last week we were at 78. So that means that 1.78 people or during the entire hour, 78 people viewed. So I think it's pretty good for a Wednesday night chat.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Well, I think it's because it's the hardened hobbyists or YouTube comic community guys that show up here on this. And a lot of it comes from, they just used to come on when Nick was on, and then Nick and I were on, and then all 4 of us were on for a while too. So it's kind of become the comic book guys hangout.
Yes.
So,
what other hangouts are there?
I was thinking about it because TiVo used to have a thing on, and he'd come on after us, like around 8 o'clock. But I don't know if they're still doing that.
Yeah,
I know the No Faces guys have a chat, but it's more them, I think, discussing. So I do think they interact, but I don't know how much. I catch as much as that as I can. I usually am there for a little while. I'm often doing other stuff.
yeah.
Silver Age Dave goes at lunchtime sometimes. He was going kind of regularly for a while, which was kind of cool. Usually between the hours of 11 and 1, I'm doing bookkeeping for my business. So it was nice today. I balanced the month of April while I was listening to his show. So I have 2 monitors, so it makes it easy. I put them up on the big monitor above my head, and then I have my smaller monitor down below. So pretty cool. I see some other people look like they popped in. There's Cougar. Hey, Cougar, what'd you think of the weather today, huh? A little bit of sun today, finally. I guess they're supposed to ask questions. The comic estate. Okay, here we go. This is a question, it looks like. I should probably proofread these. I'm just going to read it aloud. If you came across a seller who priced a comic book way lower than you know it should be sold for, would you tell them, or would you try to buy it for the listed price and run? I'll let you answer that. This is a moral question, I think, more than anything.
It really depends on the book, I think.
My answer was it depends on the seller.
I think for me it depends on the book. I mean, if it's something like Journey into Mystery 83,
yeah,
and it's really grossly underpriced, I mean, there would be a part of me that says, well, you know what this is, right? This is the first appearance of Thor.
Yeah.
And I would be honest. Or if someone came to me and they were looking to sell to other people, like, can you give me your honest opinion of these books? I would definitely give them my honest opinion. I wouldn't try to, because I know there are a lot of people that take advantage.
If you walk into a store and it's underpriced, shame on them. I mean, that's what they do for a living. That's just a lazy shop owner. He should have taken care of that. I feel the same way about a dealer. If I walk in a dealer, I know Mike and I, the last few shows we've gone to, we've scooped up a lot of Eternals #1s. I think Mike got a bunch of them for less than $20. And they're nice, but that's just the dealer not paying attention and not doing his job. So I wouldn't feel terrible about that. Now, if I went to some guy's house and he had a Journey into Mystery 83 and said, yeah, $10, I wouldn't be able to own it. I'd always feel bad about it. Like I did something bad to the guy. I'd be worried about karma, something, waking up and having an apple-sized tumor in my head. So I probably would tell the guy that book is worth a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good question, because I'm pretty sure there'd be a lot of people that would pat themselves on the back talking about what a great deal they got on
I get the whole self-buy thing, and to me it's acceptable at a dealer or at a shop, but I guess I feel different about a private collector.
Yeah, I agree. If it's at a shop and you find like a $20 book in a dollar bin, I'm not going to go up to them and say, hey, this is usually a $15, $20 book. I mean, it's like
the answer that you hear a lot too is, oh geez, my staff didn't notice that. Well, then get better staff. I feel bad for you, but
I'll tell you one thing though. One dealer tried that. You brought up Eternals 1 last year at the East Coast Con. That was when the news of Eternals just broke like a day or two earlier, and I got both copies. I got 2 #1s for like under $30. Yep. One was like a 7.5 I got for 15. The other one was like a 9.0 I got for 25 or something like that. They had old prices on it. The guy tried to get his worker to change the price, but she didn't. She's like, oh,
well,
no.
It's no different than if you went into any store and they had it mismarked. They sell it to you for what they have it on the price.
Yeah.
Right. So if that's what you're doing for a living, you just need to do it better.
Yeah.
I know what I do for a living. If someone does it better than me at a better price, I don't get the job. So that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, it's competition.
Yeah. So let's look at these other questions here. And if I missed anyone's questions, I'm sorry. Let me see here. Okay. Bigglesworth has, I don't know if it's a question or statement. It says, Patrick, the drinking age in New York was 18 back in the day. You didn't need to cross the border. Actually, it's true for a while, but the year I turned 18, they raised the drinking age to 19. And then by the time I turned 19, they raised it to 21. So when I graduated high school, I could not drink. I could vote and go get killed in the army, but I couldn't drink.
Yeah, so, how about that?
That summer and the summer after, I went up to Canada whenever I wanted to drink legally.
How far is Canada from you?
About an hour and a half drive.
Oh, geez, that's
across the border. Yeah, and the bars are open at 4 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
So it definitely made it worth the trip.
That's cool.
So Friday night, we'd always jump in the car, go over the Rainbow Bridge, uh, you know, go over there and just
The Rainbow Bridge is sort of like Thor, like
yeah. Well, I think it was called the Friendship Bridge and the Rainbow Bridge, I think, but I don't know. I don't know if they're still called that. But then you had the whole miles per hour thing to deal with, and
you're like, oh, you've been going 15 kilometers.
well, I just stunk because before we'd leave, you draw straws, and whoever's low man always had to not drink. So that was a long night for that guy, but he didn't have to pay for food or anything else the rest of the night. So you win some, you lose some, I guess. But yeah, we just want everyone to get home safe. But that weekend, I stayed overnight at the grossest, seedy hotel you ever want to see. It's like,
Patrick.
Looking back on it now, it's the kind of thing where you see like in movies where people get killed in these things where the doorknob kind of works, and there's like a 3-inch gap under the door.
I stayed in some hotels in Atlantic City, and believe me,
yeah,
me and my friend, sometimes we didn't think we were going to get out of there alive.
It's weird when you do things when you're a kid, you just don't think about it. And I mostly it's things you just don't notice it. You don't notice, for one thing, filth. You sure don't notice a mortal danger because you think you're indestructible,
What's that urban legend that there was a smell coming from a hotel room? It turned out that there was a body under the mattress for a while, and that was.
I wouldn't be surprised. If I could have been in the motel I stayed at, that place was a hellhole.
It's the same room.
Yeah. I have black spots on my memory. Maybe I caused it. I don't know. Anyway. Because all these guys in this chat are going to think I'm a drunk now. Yickety hello. All right, let's see. Any other questions? Come on, guys. I opened this up to you. Okay, let's see. Okay, here we go. Eugene T has a question.
Okay.
Question for you both. Do you have advice for collectors who are trying to make the hobby pay for itself? I know that Nick loves flipping from eBay purchases, but do you have other suggestions? I'm the opposite of what Nick does. I rarely buy on eBay and flip. I almost always, for me, it works better to buy in person, mostly because when Mike and I look at books, we usually try to find things that are undergraded and undervalued and that have pressable defects. And for me, on eBay, it's extremely hard to find pressable defects. Most of the time, people have pretty bad pictures. So if I can hold the book up, I can tilt it. And if I get an off-axis light source on it, I can pick up small dimples and creases that I know we can get out for sure. I also look for books that look dirty, but it's not stained. It's mostly just like stacking dirt, because before bags, people would stack their books on top of each other, and you get rubbing from the stacks. So what is happening, you get a little bit of ink transfer onto white on the back, and that comes off real easy with a white polymer eraser. So. And that can jump you, a lot of points. So that's how I do it. And then typically I slab books because you really maximize your profit when you slab a book. It becomes a commodity at that point. There's no, I'm not a professional grader disclaimer in your listing. This is a 9.8 white pages. Here's what it normally sells for. And then I list it usually for like 10% under what it's going for on eBay. And most of my books sell within a week.
Yeah.
That's how I've been doing it.
Yeah, I can't really add too much to that other than what you said. I do a little bit of what you just said. I know a lot of people, they suggest buying collections. And so
that is a great way. You're right.
Yeah, buy a collection. Obviously, try to get a good price on it. There might be something in that collection you want to keep, but sell everything else. And do like what Patrick said. See if there are pressable defects. See if there's anything that can be erased to get a good grade bump. Slabbing.
Yeah. Go to your local cons too, your small local shows, because a lot of these guys that are pressers that set up. The problem with pressing is CGC does, I think, an okay job. I've heard some horror stories of blowing out bindings and things like that.
That's unacceptable.
Well, the problem with pressing a lot is it's expensive to send the books to your presser, and then he has to then send them to CGC. If you can find a guy that you can physically hand the books to, that you trust, and start off small. Give them 1 or 2 books that aren't a high value, and if you can get a good presser, a guy that can clean and press, that's a great thing to have because you'll really be able to maximize your profit. I think I'm pretty good at cleaning. I'm pretty good at pressing. Mike is obviously the best I know, so I'm very fortunate that he lives right next to me. So a lot of times I take books as far as I can go with them, and then I give them off to Mike, and he gives them his final Harry Potter wand. I don't know exactly what he does differently. Oh, I do actually. Just he nails it. He's the best that I've seen. And it's more than just pressing. He's just good at it's just magical, some of the stuff that Mike does. So, and you guys have seen it in the videos. He's jumped some of these books that we've cracked out. We've jumped 2 and 3 grades. So
yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, I hope that answered the question. I think we did.
I think so.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Okay, Evan's got another question. He said, do you prefer the suppleness of East Coast books or the page color of West Coast books? That is an interesting question, and I know exactly what he's talking about because there's a few sellers that I buy from in California, and their colors are just beautiful. But he's right; the page quality is not the same. I don't know.
Why is that?
Because
of the heat.
Well, it's more humid. It's more humid here. It's drier out in California, so that affects the suppleness of the pages. I don't know. I guess if I can get books from like Illinois, that's my favorite place because it's a little bit of both. Or a book that was stored for decades in a cool, dry place would be ideal, like in a closet or on the first floor.
Or a cedar chest.
Yeah, well, you can get smell on them then, though.
Oh.
So, and you know how smells are to get rid of. They're not easy.
Yes, I'm doing that right now.
Are stubborn as all hell.
That's right.
Well, I hope that answered that. So, but if you had to push me on it, I think page color trumps suppleness of pages for me.
Okay.
Probably because I don't handle my books as much anymore. I mostly read trades and digital now. So, where I wouldn't say necessarily I'm just a cover collector because I will collect a book if I like the story that's inside of it. But I have it just so I can hold it. I don't necessarily go through my books like that and read them often. If that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Todd Hobeck's got a question for you.
Me?
Yes. Okay, Anthony, does your son have a favorite superhero, or is it his dad?
He likes Spider-Man a lot. That's his favorite.
Good for him. That's a good one.
Yeah, he really likes Spider-Man. He every time he sees him on the TV, he stops.
Does he know the song?
No, he doesn't know the song, but he really likes Spider-Man. That's his favorite.
You should teach him the song.
Yeah, I should.
You play it for him. Play the original, but also play the version by the Ramones.
However, though, despite the fact that he likes Spider-Man a lot, he keeps asking for Tales from the Crypt. He says, "Can I see Tales from the Crypt? Can I see Tales from the Crypt?"
It's got to be a genetic thing with you.
And I had a couple books out. He says, "Can I have the red one and you have the blue one?"
Wow.
Yeah, because some of the red border, some of the background, some of the blue. He says, "I take this one."
You got a lot of reprints. When he gets a little older, you could let him look at them.
No, he wanted to see he wanted the originals. He said he'll be careful. I said, "No way."
Yeah.
Go away.
A second, and that could go bad. It's like that guy that found that was it Action Comics 1.
Oh,
him and his aunt were fighting over it.
Yeah, it's
like,
that cost him about $150,000.
I know. And it ruined a really beautiful book too.
Are there pictures of it online?
Of
that particular copy?
I think didn't it go through Metropolis?
I don't remember.
I thought ultimately that's where it ended up.
Probably.
Someone on the channel know. I just remember the story of the guy and his aunt were fighting with it, and the cover got mangled a little bit. Okay. Okay, I think I got most of these. Oh, Silver Age Dave has his son's watching the show with him. Hello, Silver Age Dave's son.
Is he Bronze Age, Dave?
I don't think he is. I think he's got to be modern age, right?
I don't know. I don't know how
old. Dave has kids much older than 20.
Oh, okay. I didn't
He's not that silver.
know.
Yeah, you're right, Cougar. It was all day long. It was bright sun and it was right downpour. All right. Got people talking about the weather here. Oh, comic book estate. He's got another question. Question for both gents. Who are your current holy grails for signatures? And then he says his are Alex Ross and Frank Miller. Well, mine, I have two, and I hope to remedy one that first week of June is George Perez. I want to get him to sign. I do have a couple books that are signed by him, and I have the certificates that go with them, so I know it's actually his. But for me, signatures are meaningless unless I'm with the person and I get to meet them. And then the next one is Jack Kirby. I do want a Kirby signature at some point. Would mean a lot. And Gil Kane. I would like a Gil Kane signature as well.
Yeah.
So those are the three that I would chase. I already have a Stan Lee. I have a Bernie Wrightson. Who else do I have? I have about 5 or 6 of them. I think Len Wein. I think I have a Roy Thomas. Joe Sinnott. I have. Mike Zeck. I met Mike Zeck. That was pretty cool. George or Bob McLeod. I have his. Steranko. I might get Steranko this year.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
He seemed like a fun guy to talk to.
Yeah.
You and I were standing there when that young kid came up and asked him some jerky question, and he laid into the kid because I'm sure he heard the same. I wish I remember what the question was. I know I talked about it in the video because you and I were just standing there laughing because he just ripped this kid apart.
Yeah,
He's kind of a condescending jerk to a guy that really changed sequential comic art. I think
absolutely. He really is excellent.
Yeah,
Steranko. He's definitely.
So who are you chasing anyone?
I would like Frank Miller.
Yeah.
That I'm trying to get him for a couple of years at the New York Con. I just never know where to go to get his signature. I think you got to go to a special. You got to get a special pass or whatever.
Yeah, he's one of the guys that you got to get ahead of time. You got to get that signature.
So if he's going to be at the New York Con this year, somebody that's going that knows how to get it, please let me know because that's the one I would really like to get. Other than that,
what would you have him sign?
Probably Elektra's first appearance.
Oh, that'd be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Front or back cover?
I would just say probably front.
Yeah, I think this fanzine I have, I'll probably have him sign the front. But I think in most cases, I would have a guy sign the back.
I would prefer them to sign the front page, like open it up and sign the page.
Oh yeah, that would be ideal. Like
that's what I would prefer.
Yeah.
Still living, another one would be Todd McFarlane.
Oh yeah,
I heard he's very nice.
Yeah, I could see that.
Very nice. I'd like to get him, but those that have already passed on. I mean, obviously, besides someone like Jack Kirby, one that I would really, really like would be Johnny Craig.
Yeah.
But
I don't know how many of those are floating around though. That'd be an interesting one.
Not too many. I don't think. I don't think there are too many of those floating around.
Yeah.
I only wish I came back to the hobby while he was still alive and doing shows every now and then. Because from what Dr. Von Chilla said, that one time he went to a show and there was no one lined up to see him. Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, how could that be?
Him as like a sports artist in Mad Magazine is what most people thought of him as.
Johnny Craig.
Yeah.
He drew some of the most infamous covers of all time.
I know.
He drew the most infamous cover, in my opinion. But that's what I would like.
All right, let's go back here, see if we're answering these. Someone asked, you've probably mentioned this, but is Mike a big-time dealer? He's got to be. Actually, no. Mike is, I would say he's a collector first. He collects pre-code horror is his thing that he likes to collect in. But Mike is similar to how I am, and he likes to buy so he can buy more, and he just constantly invests. I think he's becoming a big dealer, and he has talked about setting up in Baltimore this year. So we've done a few small shows here. He's done one of the bigger ones, Flower City. He did in Rochester. and then we do those sidewalk sales. But I think there's a one coming up June 1st that he might do, and I'll probably go and help him do that. So um, I think
That's cool.
answer, not really, but kind of. Mike is a dealer, I guess.
Is Mike going to East Coast Con? Chance to
I-
come down and see, you
I
know.
don't know, because I think there are 2 cons that he wants to go to the same weekend, which is the coming weekend.
Yeah.
I can't, because I have kids graduating from college too this Saturday, so I'll be really busy on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I wake up Monday, and that's a whole lot less money going out the door.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'll be at East Coast on Saturday. Originally, I was going to go Friday, but I'm going there with a
Good for
friend.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a nice show. It's got great guests coming to it.
Yeah. I heard Val Kilmer's going to be there.
Here's a question from Bigglesworth for us both.
Okay.
As a collector, whose collection goes to his grandson? What's the upside to sending out books like ASM 129, Flash 123, Detective Comics 357 to be graded and slabbed? Merely protection?
What's Detective Comics 357? Do you mean 359?
That would be Catwoman, right? 359?
That 359 is Barbara Gordon.
Okay. But isn't she fighting with Catwoman on the cover?
No, that's Lois Lane's.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
I forget what number it is.
Yeah.
Lois Lane
Well,
70.
I mean, to answer that question, I slab usually to sell, but I also have recently started slabbing my more valuable books in case something dire were to happen to me. It makes them a lot more liquid for my family.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the answer. And I think as I got older, like say I was in my 80s or whatever, however long I'm going to live, I probably would look at doing, if there's still a grading company then, I probably would get my stuff graded then, because then it's easier to disperse amongst the family.
Yeah.
And they don't have to worry about handling them or storing them, because then, you know, by then I'm sure I'll be a crotchety old guy and don't touch my comics. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, that's where I'm going. I don't imagine. Well, I imagine it will be still a grading company, right?
Well, going by the way things are now, it seems like it. You know,
Yeah.
CGC is very busy, and so is CBCS. So, you know.
And then the other thing is, some people just like the way graded books look. They like to display them. If you're somebody that has a lot of friends that are around and you handle your books a lot, my light 2s are nice. The 4s are great. You can double back, full back, whatever. But top loader at a minimum, I would do. And then probably you might want to get it slabbed if it's like a Spider-Man 129 that all your buddies are going to want to come over and look at. I mean, everyone drops things. And,
well, like for me, I remember when I first started collecting, there was advertisements in the Wizard magazine about this hard shell case that you could put comic in. And I thought that was so cool. Then when I came back to the hobby and I saw the CGC slab, I was like, oh man, that is really awesome.
Some people just like it. They just like the way it looks. They don't care to learn the grade. They don't want to.
I like it because it gives it protect. That was my initial. I like it because it's protection. But yeah, there are books I will slab to sell because there's no argument. Getting back to what you said earlier in the show, there's no, well, I'm not a professional grader. There's no argument. This is what it is.
Yeah.
Whether you want to.
They put microchamber paper in them. The inner well that it's sealed in does keep out most moisture. It is a good way to protect your book too. So, and you know, at $21, $28, whatever it is for modern books, it's not that much money. So it's a preference thing, but it does make your books more liquid for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I hope that answers your question, Mr. Bigglesworth. I don't know if you're named after the cat or not, but. Silver Age Dave says his books are supple. Oh no, Hypnotic Eyes. Okay, now he posted this for Luther. I still hate your 2-minute videos, so I gotta know, and this will make me feel better. Hypnotic Eyes, do you hate them because you just don't like the content, or you want me to go back to the old format to where I do my weekend reviews, and there's a sermon and homework and all that kind of thing. So answer in the chat, and I'll see it. Or if you just don't like me, I guess there's nothing I can do about that.
Maybe he's one of those elusive thumbs down people.
No, or maybe, and I've seen this on some of the videos. I know Bubs, I think it was Bubs. Yeah, Bubs had a thing, and I love his intro, and I love his comic book. And this guy came on there, and he just left a kind of what I thought was a really kind of a crappy comment about things. And oh, just give me the comment, just talk about the books. I don't care about all this video stuff and production that you're doing. I just want to see about the comic books. And I guess I get that, but I think for a lot of people who've never made videos before, it's fun to make them, for me, more fun to watch and view. And I hope that's what those 2-minute videos that I do are, the 2-minute Tuesdays. I just try to have fun with things.
I know on my videos I talk too much. It's because I enjoy talking about the hobby.
Yeah.
I'm just not into it to say, hey, look at the new expensive book I got this week. Moving on to the next. I talk about it, why I got it, or why it's important.
For me, just going and doing hauls of all the same books that we all collect and we all have is akin to me like going to the grocery store and then coming home and saying, look, I got ketchup, I got eggs, I got milk. I don't, everyone, we all have a lot of these books, so it doesn't make sense to me to show them. Now, if you get key books, I think it's cool. Or I think the CGC thing that Mike and I do, for me, is fun because we don't know what those grades are going to be. And we hunted months for these books, and then to see them come back is kind of the end game for us, So anyway, Hypnotic guys, let me know. Like I said, if you just don't like me, nothing I can do about that, I guess. I'm too old to change. All right, let's see here. But thanks for watching anyway. I hope you still watch even if you hate them. Oh, here we go. KBDM says, do you read and collect New Age comics? I'm loving and so happy DC released Deceased. Love some zombies. I'll let you go there. I don't know if you were reading anything new, and that leads me into one of Mike's questions, actually. So I'll only read Mike's question because I think we can answer both of them. Okay. Mike, do you read any current titles, and if so, what are they? So I have 2 that I read current. If you want me to go first, I guess.
Yeah, might as well because I really don't read too much.
I read Walking Dead every month when it comes out. It's gotten a little better. It's gotten a little less soap opera like for me. So I'm going to stick with it at least till 200. And then the other one I read is Paper Girls, but I read that as trade paperback, so I'm behind on it. So I think I just read volume 5. So whatever issue that is, that's where I'm at. So I read those 2, and I enjoy both of them. It's kind of odd because neither one of them really are superhero books. I've tried to read a lot of the new stuff. I started getting into DC Rebirth. I tried to get into the whole Watchmen crossover thing, but it's just too long in between issues. I don't even know. I gave up on that. I was reading Marvel 2-in-1, but then that culminated with Fantastic Four, and I read that, and I'm out. I didn't think that was well done. I thought it was kind of silly. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm not really reading anything. I'm off and on with Batman. I still collect the new Batman stuff, but I'm off and on. I would like to get into X-Men, but it just looks like it's just too much to get into, and I would see myself getting really frustrated with it. And so, but who knows? Things change. But to answer the question, long story short, too late. Not really. Not really reading.
Well, I've talked about it a couple of times, but I watch Sleepy Reader. He does a really good job on reading new books. He mostly reads like Image and the other companies, and then he also does some stuff with DC. A few Marvels, but not many. But he does a really good job about talking about the art and the storylines and things like that. So,
is that the general consensus that a lot of people don't like the Marvel titles and they prefer to read the DC titles out of the big 2?
I would say so, but I can tell you from going to, and I talked to that exact thing with 3 different LCS owners, and all 3 of them said Marvel for them outsells DC 2-to-1. So I don't know. Somebody's buying them, somebody's reading them, so I don't know who it is. Maybe they're buying them just so they can get on the internet and yell about them. But all 3 of them said Marvel easily. One guy said 3-to-1. So. The shop Rhinos I go to, he said easily Marvel sells 3 to every 1 DC he sells. So Now that could be
Oh,
maybe because they just put out more titles too. I don't know.
well, maybe, I mean, Marvel, no doubt, is a powerhouse
It's
over.
the movies. I think the movies are really helping that along.
Yeah, yeah.
But we'll see. All right, got to keep this moving here.
Let's go.
What do we
Moving
got?
on.
We got 20 minutes left. We can go a little longer, I guess. Hey, Mr. Gretzky, he just popped in.
Hey,
If I missed your question, everybody, I'm sorry. Please don't hate me.
if you missed your question, type it again.
Yes, there you go. And I don't do that super chat thing, so. Hey, Joey Solo, you're new to the thing. What cover was that? Oh, he's talking there. They're having inner questions now.
They're talking amongst themselves.
Yeah. Joey Solo, if you've never seen a Fantastic Four cover, a newer one I think is great to have is that all red cover, where they're inside their spaceship and they're flying, and the whole cover's red. I think it is a John Byrne cover, but that'd be a great one to get signed because the signature would show really well. All right, Todd Hobeck. Patrick, how is the basement coming along? Do you add secret passageways? Well, I can't answer the question too because then they wouldn't be secret. Just before I came on tonight, I was actually filling the nail holes of the shoe molding or the cord around that was installed. So final paints will be Sunday. The bedroom downstairs, that's all that furniture got moved into, and then the sewing room and all that'll be getting moved into on Sunday. And I probably will start to set up my comic room. So maybe it'd be great. I'm hoping maybe next 2 Minute Tuesday, maybe I'll be in the new comic area, and then Hypnotic Eyes can get mad at me for my 2 Minute Tuesday in my new room.
I like the art style that you had in that. The last 2 minute.
Oh, in the beginning?
Yeah.
There was a lot of effort that went into that 2 minutes.
I could tell.
Between all the shots and the stuff that I had to do. The week before too was a lot with the different sales exchanges and some of the other stuff, and then the audio and the music and the sound effects and all that stuff. It's fun for me. I love doing it. I hope everyone likes them. I can't tell. The regulars all like it. So anyway. Let me see here. Oh, Cougar Comics says he has a Gil Kane signature. He got it in the early 70s.
Wow.
Good for you. Hey, Knights of Old's here. Hey, I enjoyed your Timely Tuesday. I watched that this morning. Oh, Comic Estete's got another question.
Cool.
A new slabbing company just started, EGS, Expert Grading Service. If you two were going to start your own slabbing grading company, what would you name it?
Oh, man. I'd have to give that a little more thought. Probably, I don't know if Reaper Slab sounds too appealing.
I would call it Slabco. It's short and sweet, and everyone knows what that is. Anyone that's in the hobby knows what slabs are. So get the word grading right out of it. And you don't want to talk about preservation because then people say it's not real preservation, it's not hermetically sealed, and all this other stuff. I just call it Slabco. So that's the answer.
Slabco, I like it.
Oh, here we go. Talk about it. Knights of Old says, I almost never do shorter than 15 minutes. I know. Knights of Old, where were you walking? Because it sounded heavily gravel. You never showed any pictures. I wanted to know where you were walking. I thought you would cut to where you were walking. I wanted to see where you were walking. I was obsessed with the sound. Anyway, Gretzky says, Tuesday 2 minute videos are awesome. Keep them coming. I will. Okay, I will. Watch vids shorter than. He likes to listen to stuff while he's doing work. I do the same thing. Here's a new guy. I don't know how to say his name. XAVI Estrada. I was wondering, what is your experience with turnaround times with CGC from mailing out to receiving? Well, I think right now you're at about 60 days, and it's going to get worse because what happens is once con season hits, half of their staff goes on the road and does all these cons. So you only have half your grading staff there. and just staff in general to move the process along. And then the other thing you have is they're taking in more submissions. So it's a double-edged sword. So now you have twice the amount of books come in to be graded and only half the people to grade them. So I think Mike told me that the grading times when we sent the stuff out was like 28 days, and now I think it's up to 60. So
yeah,
it's just the way it is. And I heard of people over 100 days with CBCS. So I guess that's a good bad thing. I mean, I guess that means they're being used, so they're not going to go away. But I would just hope that they could somehow grow their staffs. But as any of you know, when you grade, it's not an easy thing to do. You can't just say I'm a grader. You can't just read the Overstreet Guide once and say, "Yep, I know how to grade comics." It does take time to get good at it. And I think the other thing that's real hard to do is pick up restoration, because they're getting more and more sophisticated every day with how they do it. Especially trimming and other things where they'll trim a book and they'll do stuff to that raw edge to make it look aged.
Where there's money to be made, someone's going to find a clever way to get more money.
They've been counterfeiting money since it was wooden coins, right? And art ripoffs have been a part of the art world for centuries. So
why wouldn't comics? Why wouldn't they do it with comics?
Why wouldn't they do it with comics? People make counterfeit money, so they're for sure going to counterfeit a comic book. It's a lot easier. So that's the unfortunate part of our hobby, right?
Yeah, it's with anything that's that can be lucrative or valuable or whatever. Any more questions, Patrick?
Yeah, I'm reading through. I'm just reading through different people. Eugene T's comment's pretty funny.
What did he say?
Well, I don't know if I want to read it. It might be mean. I don't want it to hurt anyone's feelings.
Oh.
Okay, here's a question from Goomba. I'm only going by question marks, so I'm reading these out loud. So if you guys put something by there, it'll be like I'm on the news reading a teleprompter and someone writes, something horrible. Okay, Goomba says, "What's your guy's biggest score, largest profit margin you got on just one book?" That's easy for me. I bought 3 Amazing Spider-Man 300s off the rack. I got my discount. I think I paid 80 cents a piece for them, and I sold all 3 of them for in the neighborhood like $2,500 each. So I basically sold time is the way I look at it. Now, I will say I did get 2 copies of Tales of Suspense 52, and they'll be coming back in the next few submissions Mike and I got, and I think I did very good on that. I think I hit a home run on those. So, and that, to me, that's 4 times what you paid for a book.
I don't regularly flip, so I may not be the best person to ask this question. However, I did have a Detective Comics 66 restored. I paid next to nothing for it, and it practically paid for my Amazing Fantasy 15 when I sold it.
Wow, that's awesome.
It did, yeah.
You
For
had that book for a long time, though, right?
A little while, not terribly long. For what I got for it, I could not pass it up.
Yeah.
And especially if, do you want a restored Two-Face or do you want a Blue Label Spider-Man?
Exactly.
I think I made the right choice.
Yeah, I think you did too. And you got to do what's right for you. I mean, if you were a huge Two-Face fan, well, then yeah, that's why that guy did that. So you both won.
Yeah. So that was my biggest.
That's a good question. Let me just say, damn, what's behind the bookcase? Oh, in here? I can't show you that, Todd. I'm sorry. Yeah, Mr. Gretzky, I heard that Hickman is rebooting the X-Men.
Who's rebooting it?
Hickman, the guy that did Fantastic Four, and then he wrote Secret Wars. The only problem with that guy is he tends to be extremely late. I mean, there's a few series he never finished. What was that? The East of West or West of East, something like that. What the heck was that called? I think there were 2 issues of it. I read both of them, and then he stopped writing them. So, okay, Knights of Old has a question.
Oh,
Reaper.
Cool.
This is directed at you. If you had to choose one to sell and never collect again, Would it be comics or video games? Wow, this is a Sophie's choice question.
Wait. Repeat the question to me, Patrick.
If you had to choose one to sell and never collect again, would it be comics or video games?
I'd probably sell the video games.
Wow, I see. I would have guessed that wrong.
No, because I have a lot of valuable video games, but I'm willing to let that value go and keep the value I have for comics because the comic values trump the video game values.
Okay.
And
So it's a financial decision you're making. It's not
it's a financial decision.
Would you be able to never to collect or play a video game again, though?
You never know.
Okay, that's a good question.
I mean, you never know.
All right. Tech Kid or Tech 31 Kid said, Patrick, did you ever pick up FF3? No, I didn't, and I'm bummed because there was one on Comic Link, and I got outbid by like 50 some bucks, and it was one. You know how that goes at the end, where it just goes real super fast, and I thought I was way over GPA on it. I thought I was going to win it, and then since then that book has just skyrocketed. So,
what was the grade, Patrick?
It was a 4.5. So it was it was a beautiful 4. You know how I like to get the prettiest of a grade I can get my hands on, and it was a beautiful 4.5.
Yeah.
I mean, if it wasn't in a slab and you look quick, you would have thought it was a 6.0.
Mm-hmm.
But it was graded, and I missed out on it, and it's one of those things I think I missed my chance because now that book is, in a 4.5s probably in the $800 to $1,000 range, and I don't want to pay that much for it. I love the cover, and it's a Kirby, and I love the bathtub. I actually like that cover better than Fantastic Four 1, but. Yeah. Oh well. So not yet. You come across one that's inexpensive, let me know. Silver Age Dave's funny. He said he loves the 2-minute vids so much. I wish they were 50% longer. Well, you notice in the title, sometimes they'll say double size, and occasionally they'll say triple sized if they go 6 minutes.
What about giant size?
Oh, that could come up. Maybe Hypnotic Eyes would like if I did an 80-page special and it was like 10 minutes.
Whoa, that's too long, Patrick.
Well, I'm thinking about starting where I may go back and just read run-of-the-mill issues, comics, and just come on and review those.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think anyone's reviewing, like say, I don't know, Fantastic Four 175. That's got High Evolutionary and Galactus on the cover fighting. Something like that. Maybe I'll do that because that would take more than 2 minutes. So stay tuned. I don't know.
Well, I still have my EC reviews coming up, but no one likes them. Yeah, but no one likes those. Yeah, no one seems that interested in the EC reviews.
No, do one and see what happens.
Yeah.
All right. Knights of Old. I think we answered that. Maybe it's just on a delay.
Which one?
Okay.
What was it? Is another question?
No, I don't know if he got caught in the loop because he keeps asking. It's the same. His question keeps popping up again and again. Anyway. Evan says Adam Warlock's first appearance, Fantastic Four 67 or Thor 165, based on interior content and not slab labels.
Good question.
I guess actually, I don't think he was known as Adam Warlock until well after that. He was known as him in both of those issues.
Yeah.
Correct? I don't think he was known as Adam Warlock until,
He wasn't Adam Warlock in 67.
No, or Thor.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm unfamiliar with the Thor issue, but I know in 67 he definitely wasn't. He was him.
Yeah. Well, I think it's 168. It's one of my favorite Kirby covers where they're both fighting. It's just them on the cover. I love that cover. I just think Kirby was at his best when he had two combatants together. That cover's really great. The other one, he's holding Sif, and I don't know. I don't like it as much, and it's a black cover, so it's a pisser to get in good quality. Every little thing shows. But I would say I would go with 67. If you're going to grab one of them, 67, and there's a little bit of a cameo in 66. So in Nick's words, why worry? Get both. I think makes sense, especially because you can get Fantastic Four 66 for in high grade, probably for less than $50. So yeah, get both. Get all three. Then you're covered.
Yeah, so get all three.
But I would say my thing, I'd say Fantastic Four 67 is where I would say that character's first appearance is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although he's known as him, he wasn't known as Adam Warlock till quite a bit later. So let's go here. Knights of Old said, Luther Manning, will you ever get guys ever get an original art? I would love to. It's just the cost of it is prohibitive. I guess I'll get into it once I get all the Silver Age books I want. Oh, we're at 7:56. I got to keep answering questions here.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to answer the ones off the sheet here.
Okay.
Well, let me go with the Silver Age Dave question. He said, what's the secret guacamole ingredient? And Dave, that means you're doing watch to the end of my videos because I show it at the end of the video. It's a spice called Tajan, and you can get it at probably any supermarket. This is the sneaky one Dave asked. He said, I believe signatures could be used to mask cover defects. New slab signature series or raw. What are your thoughts on this topic? And he says, example, before CGC grading at a convention, an artist signs over or adds a cool sketch over a small stain or scuff section of a cover, or possibly over a scribble from the original previous owner. So if you see what I mean, he's saying, like, say that you had a color breaking mark on a cover and you had, the artist sign right over it with a black Sharpie covering up the mark. What do you think of that? And my response to it was smart but slimy. So I don't know what you think of that.
Yeah, I'd agree with you.
It's clever, but I mean, I would hate to get that book later and feel like I got duped.
Yeah.
All right. And his next one is, and I don't have any experience with this board game, but I have an answer. He said, I'm hosting a Risk tournament. Now, I know that's a board game, but I'm more of a Stratego guy, so I never played Risk. 4 or 5 players per board max. I have a buddy who believes the key to winning is securing Australia, but I don't see it. I'm an old-fashioned North America guy, so I'm interested in hearing your strategies. We'll mostly be drinking beer and laughing till our bellies hurt. But bragging rights are important, so let me know. So my answer is, I see the guy's point because Australia is an island nation, so they really don't need a Navy or an Air Force. All they really need is a good missile program because you can't approach them any other way. It's not like you can march and get them. If you send boats, they can see it coming from all directions and blow them up. Same thing with Air Force. So I don't know. I've never played Risk, so I don't know what the advantage to having Australia would be.
Yeah, I never played Risk.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I know what it is, but I never played it.
I've seen people play it, so I don't know if I can help you there, Dave.
Yeah, I know my cousin had it. I used to see it in his house all the time. But
yeah, I know my aunt and uncle would have it, and it sat on the same shelf, I think, for 2 decades. I don't remember anyone ever playing it. It looked cool. Let's get to Dave or Mike's other questions.
Okay.
Mike has a question. It's kind of related to his first question, which was, are you reading any current titles? This one says, what factors would make you more interested in reading current books? Would it be characters, story, price, art style, or even paper stock? And my answer was yes to all, especially story. Although I don't care so much about paper stock because I read trades and digital these days. So I just want good stories. I think the art nowadays is really good. And I think the presentation of these books is superior. The coloring is fantastic. They can do things now that they couldn't do back then. And the art in general, I think, is as good or better. But the stories, I think, are pretty lacking.
Yeah, art characters and stories. For me.
I just feel like a lot of new stuff's recycled.
Yeah, it always seems like they're relaunching or redoing something. And it's just like after a while,
the guy's race, change their gender, change their sexuality or whatever. I don't care about any of that. Come up with new characters. If they're good, we'll read them. If they're not, they don't get read. So that's just the long and short of it. Leave the established characters alone and stay off my lawn.
Stay off my lawn. Gotta get that picture of that guy.
All right, last Mike's last question. Was there a comic or story that you recall reading when you were younger that you wish you could find today? Maybe you had a coverless copy and you don't know what the issue is now, or it was a backup story that you just plain forgot the title of. I did have one, and it was Swamp Thing #7. It was the first cover art that I had ever seen, and it was like, I think interior page 3 or 4, Swamp Thing scaling the side of a skyscraper, and I, for the longest time, thought it was a Batman book because Batman's in that, and I just thought it was a Batman book, and this is summer of 1974. So, I didn't have the internet, and I never saw the cover, so I never knew what that was till I got back into the hobby in 2013, and I figured it out, and I have a copy of it now. So that was probably the only other one, because for the most part, I have every book I've ever owned. So
Yeah, so do I.
I don't have a lot of those. So my answer was pretty much no. I'm fortunate. I have
Me too.
story that I remember, and the ones I didn't, I went back and grabbed. I know there was a Dell comic that had Gremlins attacking a B-52 bomber. I grabbed that. And there's a lot of books that I remembered as a kid that I just when I first got on it, I couldn't believe it. I signed on to eBay, and it's like, there's that one, there's this one, there's that one, and they were less than $10, so you just bought them all.
Yeah.
Yep,
the one I remember fondly is Tales from the Crypt 39, and I own it now. So
yeah. All right, let's see if there's any other questions in here. I hope everyone enjoyed this. Normally the chat just goes by, and I don't have glasses, and I can't read it, and I have my extra large iPad, so I can read them tonight. Oh, these guys are talking Risk now. All right, Dave, Silver Age Dave. I hope you're still on here soaking us all in, because I think they're giving you some good strategy. I do, Todd Hobeck. I do remember that, because Kramer said the Ukraine is weak or something like that, and the guy flipped out and smashed the boy. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, the Ukraine is weak. There it is.
All right. Maybe we gotta do this again then.
Oh, Hypnotic Eyes, he left. He never told me. I need closure.
Oh, screw him.
I want to know. Oh, here's Evan. Who would win in a fight, Dan Garrett or Black Condor? And I think he's talking. Dan Garrett is the second Blue Beetle, if I remember right, because it's got 2 T's. Because the first Blue Beetle only had 1 T, if I remember right, Evan. So, or the Black Condor. Well, it's hard to say, because both of those characters would have powers for a few, I don't know, 5, 6 issues, and then they'd go away. Like at one point, Blue Beetle had all kinds of superpowers, and then he came back. He was just a cop again in the street. I mean, I think he went to his pharmacist, and he got some kind of vitamin, and he also got a chainmail armor that he could wear. And then the Black Condor is a real weird character, because how did that go? He was raised by condors, and he learned how to fly. He had no feathers or wings, but he still learned how to fly. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, but at one point I think he started carrying a ray gun. Everyone would probably know, right? But I would say it's hard to say. I guess at their height power levels, Blue Beetle would win, because I think say that they met when they both were at their most powerful. I still think Blue Beetle would win, because I think he had greater powers. But I could be wrong. Now, the Ted Cord, especially when it was fat Ted Cord, when he got out of shape, I think just about anyone could have beat him up. Ted Cord, I think, was the third Blue Beetle, right?
I don't know.
Because there were 2 Blue Beetles with the last name Garrett, and the first one only had 1 T, and then when he came back again, he had 2 T's on the end of his name, and that's when he started getting superpowers.
Oh, yeah, I don't know too much about the Blue Beetle.
Haven't got some of my comic knowledge. Oh, Knights of Old. Luther Manning, if you were to collect foreign comics, which country? That's a good question. And we're not talking reprints, we're talking originals, right? I would probably say Japanese. Don't they? They would probably, other than the US, probably have the most rich comic history out there. I'm not really in anime, but I know there are series that have run for decades in Japan. So.
Yeah, that would absolutely Japan.
Yeah, the only other one that comes to mind, I know Germany has a pretty big comics too, but I've never read them. I mean, I know that Marvel and DC did, and I don't count England, because I kind of count them as ours too. I guess because it's in English. So, I take that back. Mobius, when he did, was it called Blueberry? The comic where it was cowboys. Would that count? That's when he was known as was it Gerard something or other, whatever his real name is.
Maybe.
Again, the chat will know. Let's see. We got more questions. Okay, KBDM says Spider-Man Far From Home trailer, BS or real? Nobody should trust Mysterio, right? Chameleon could be Fury. What do you think of that? He threw a lot of questions in there.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Camille, I did not think about that.
Yeah, they could do that to us.
Yeah, I mean,
super
look,
plot twist.
I think it's obviously not what we think.
Yeah,
it is. There's probably something there that maybe some of us maybe put the finger on, but it's probably going to surprise us either way.
I hope it does. I don't want to know.
Yeah, so we'll find out.
I think I'm done watching trailers too. I usually only watch the first two.
Mm-hmm.
Although Marvel's great at misleading you, they do it intentionally.
They do. They do. You remember the original Avengers: Infinity War, where you saw all them running. Hulk was with them, and I mean.
And then he turned into being in the Veronica armor.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty slick the way they did that.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Let's do one more.
One more. Oh, now you're making it hard.
We could do the others next week.
Yeah, Knight says an interesting. What's the best year of each age? You mean in comics?
Ooh, jeez.
That's a tough one. That's a whole show unto itself there.
Yeah.
I'm very partial to all the years in the 20-cent era. So that for me, that's my favorite time of comic books.
Best years, jeez. That's something else.
Well, Todd Von Strange says, "What's Reaper's secret for obtaining EC books?" I know what it is. You just got to put it out there that's what you want, and you got to have a good network of dealers around you.
Yeah, that's a good question. You really, like what Patrick said, you got to really be in the community to try to find some of those books, and a lot of them can be very, very pricey. And if you're really into them, there are some that you're going to really have to pay up for, and just be ready. It's the best advice I could give. It's just when you see a deal, you're gonna have to go for it.
Yeah, you got to be ready for it. You got to have the cash in hand.
For very many reasons. One, because EC fans, they will scoop it up.
Yes.
Very fast. Two, it may not pop up again for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky recently. I picked up a big EC book for a fraction of what it goes for.
And if all else fails, have EC Ed on speed dial.
Have EC Ed on speed dial. Yes. Get him on, get EC Ed on the phone.
He has an encyclopedic knowledge of every grade, what everything's current price is for.
I think he has every EC.
He does. He even has those odd religious ones that there's like 7 or 6 of.
Yeah. What was it? The famous stories from the Bible.
Yeah.
There were some other ones that I haven't even heard of that he has. So EC Ed's definitely way more knowledgeable. Yeah, he's the go-to guy about EC information.
Cash. Knights of Old says cash. You're right.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. I mean,
you got to be ready. You got to be ready to jump.
If you're looking for like a first Crypt Keeper, you're gonna have to have cash for that because a copy that you may like pops up. Guess what? A lot of other people are looking for EC too. It's not mainstream.
A lot of people like that book as well. You were with me last year at HeroesCon where I kind of stalled on that Kirby Avengers that I saw.
Yeah.
What a great book that would have been to have.
Yeah, that was something though. Yeah. I don't want to keep talking about it. I don't want to keep talking about it because I don't want to rub it in.
I know. And it was literally 15 minutes.
I mean, I've lost out on stuff like that too for reasons like that. I've lost out like, oh, I should have got this for then. I've stalled and gone, and now it's hundreds of dollars. I remember.
I'm gonna make it rain.
I'll give you an example. One quick example. Tales from the Crypt 24.
Yeah.
This right here.
Okay. It's a great cover. That's a Johnny Craig, right?
No, it's Feldstein.
Let me see. Is the zombie hugging the guy?
He's dragging him into the swamp.
Okay.
I think it's called The Thing from the Swamp.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, for a while you could get this 3.0, 4.0 for maybe about $100. Well, those days are over. Now these things are going for ridiculous amounts of money. But I remember when it was really, really cheap, I stalled. I just thought, I'll get it some other time, and paid the price. So
Yep.
you really got to have the, like what Knights of Old just said. We just said you got to have the cash for some of them.
And be ready to pull that trigger.
Yeah.
Don't hesitate. If it's a book you really want, it's in front of you. It's Nick's classic. See it, buy it.
And also, if there's something that you really want, whatever it is, don't settle for something that you're sort of okay with.
Yeah.
Be okay with saying, I'll pass up on this. I mean, I know it sort of goes against what I just said, but just have a little faith in what you want and try to hold out for something that's really good too. But maybe you still got to have the money though for it.
Don't be afraid if you have to overpay a little bit.
Yes.
Because a lot of times, especially if it's a unique book, when's the next time you're going to see it again?
Yeah, that's good advice too. You're not going to be able to get a deal on everything.
Well, no, you're not. And, like I was watching Knights of Old thing, and I mentioned to him that this year I endeavored to get a 1940s Cap book. He was nice enough to send me a list of ones he suggested, and he's right. I would either get a Schomburg or a Kirby, because if you're gonna put out that kind of money for a book, you really need to get one of those too.
Yeah, something that you really be happy with, not something like, oh my God, what did I just spend money on?
And I know that if I do come across one, I'm gonna have to be ready, because those books don't float long. I mean, if someone puts one up on the forum, they're gone quick.
Yeah, and it's just for random ones too, like Captain America 75.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's a key issue or not.
It's one of his last issues.
Oh, so let's choose another number.
4 is the last one, right? That's the one where Captain America is very small in the font, and it's got the cloaked skeleton on the cover.
Which one is that? Weird Tales, where you have that skull like.
It's that one.
Is it that
74, I think, but Knights will know for sure.
That's a great one.
It is for you, but not for a Cap guy, because Cap's inconsequential by then.
Yeah, that's true.
And then he had 3 that came back in the 50s, and then when they didn't sell well, they said, no, that wasn't really Cap.
Yeah, that's true.
He was fighting the commies in the 50s.
Yeah.
And then he had the tryout issue when it was the Acrobat in Strange Tales. And then that did so well that they said, okay, we're going to bring him back in Avengers, and the rest is history. So
and you got that one.
I did, and I wasn't afraid that one. I did jump right on that one. Yeah. That thing was listed for like 20 minutes, I think.
Yeah, but it's true though. Sometimes you just got to really jump on something.
Well, to be fair though, if you remember, Showcase 22 was with it.
That's true.
And it was probably $500-600 under what that book was going for back then. And by the time we closed the deal on the other one, I emailed back and said, hey, do you still have that? I'll buy both. And he's like, it already sold.
Yeah.
Less than an hour, both books sold. So
it just goes to show there are people out there ready to pull the trigger.
Yeah, there are. Okay. Let me see. I don't know what Todd's talking about. Do it now. Kill me. I'm right here.
Oh, the Predator?
Predator, okay, yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's classic.
Yeah, Weird Tale 74. Knights of Old 78 is last.
Is that what it is?
The last golden age. Yeah, 75 is the last golden age. Yeah.
But those books are just awesome to have. Anyway.
Yeah, cool.
Even
the run of Cap would be awesome. That would be
the Human Torch, All Winners, Marvel Mystery Comics. I mean, geez, those are just wonderful covers, wonderful books.
So Goomba says, do you feel the need to own multiple copies, 2 or more, of any book, even if it's your favorite? I own, I think, 7 copies of Astonishing Tales 26. I love that cover. It just has a lot of memories for me. It's the reason that's the first Deathlock book that I ever saw. I got it for Christmas that year. And if I ever see it in high grade, I always buy it. I love that book. I love the cover. But that's a book that I have. If you think of collectors like Dr. Von Chilla with Thor 207 or Creatures on the Loose 16, there are books I think a lot of us have. I think you have several books you have multiples of.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Largely to flip.
Oh, okay.
Largely to flip. Some there are some that I could keep 2 for myself, and then the others I'm willing to let go whenever. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have books. I have books that I'm not planning to flip for several years.
Yeah. I know when I got back into the hobby, I was really into getting pristine copies of books that I had in my landfill collection that I always had as a kid, like Khazar 5, and I know there was a lot of books like that I went out and grabbed. and I just don't feel the need to do that anymore. I have the one that I have, and I can read it, and I'm never going to sell it, and I don't feel the need to go out and get the new one. So I wouldn't say I'm cured of that, but I'm in recovery. You're never cured. If you're a completist, you're always a completist, but you can manage.
I was never a completist. The only thing I'm going to complete is my Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
Maybe Vault of Horror too.
Yeah.
And maybe crime.
Gomez says, get some therapy. What do I gotta get therapy for?
Yeah, you don't need therapy.
No, just buy more comics.
You're perfectly fine.
That's right. Buy more comics and I'll be fine.
Now, do it now.
Okay, Eugene. Thanks, Eugene, for stopping by. All right. Well, if anyone's got any other questions.
Well, maybe we'll do this again. Maybe we'll do this again next week. All right.
Oh, unfortunately, I do have multiple copies of Captain Midnight's first appearance. All right, that sounds like not an unfortunate thing, Evan. That sounds like a good thing. I think some of those older characters in radio characters are going to be the next big thing that they jump on, because after they run through all these hero stories, where are they going to go to?
It's true.
I would love to see the Westerns get their due. I don't know if that'll happen or not.
Like a Jonah Hex again?
I don't know so much Jonah Hex, but I mean, you could go through all the Marvel ones.
That's true. We'll see what happens.
You got Kid Colt, and I always like the Outlaw guy. I always thought he was kind of cool. But they have to be done right, and we'd see what happens. But now with time travel, anything's possible, right?
That's right. Well, it's 8:17, everybody. We'll try this. We'll do this again. See if we can bring your questions again next week.
All right. Yeah. Send as many questions as you like. I print them out so I can read them. I'll bring out my my horn room glasses again so I can read the chat. But I think it was a lot of fun. I hope we answered everyone's questions. Hypnotic Eyes, if you're on there, I'm still thinking. I still need closure.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for everyone for stopping. And anything, Anthony, you wanna tell them? Are you gonna do some video from the con this weekend?
I might.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I'll probably insert it in the next comic book haul due out the first week of June.
That's a good idea. That's fun.
Yeah. Take a couple of videos. Hopefully, I'm gonna get to see a couple. Oh yeah, before I go, I'm gonna be hopefully seeing Simplify Comic Guy Vince.
Oh, good. He doesn't
Amazing
do videos anymore, does he?
No.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing him. Looking forward to see Tony Toth, the New York Warriors, and Amazing Murphinator, and several others. So it should be fun. I'm bringing my friend Brian. So if you see me, if any of you are going to the New York, I'm going to the New York Con too. But if any of you see me at the East Coast Con, don't be shy.
Say hello.
Say hello.
All right, and if anyone's going to be at Niagara Con, I'm going to be up there on the I think it's June 7th and 8th, and then I'll be at Heroes Con the whole weekend. So. And Mike keeps talking about this after party, and I don't know what he's talking about because we both have rooms at the Westin, so we'll see what happens.
It should be fun.
That might be kind of fun. All right, well, good night, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
We'll see you next time.
See you next week.